this video, I'm going to share with you my autumn journals. This is probably by far my favorite project that I've done so far this fall, and really my favorite probably project for the craft fair series, one of my favorites. So I'm excited to show you. I did make something similar last year. I made something called Trendy Journals, and I used the same materials, the same basic materials that I used to make these autumn journals, but I have a new technique and a foolproof way to cover these, because these are the composition notebooks. And if you caught my Traveler's Notebooks craft fair idea, I discovered a new way to cover composition books, and I'm kind of taking the same idea from that, the way I covered the little ones, and using it to cover the big ones. And I have never been more successful in covering composition notebooks. Let me tell you, it's like a world's different than what I used to do, because what I used to do is try to actually fit the paper to fit the front. Oh my gosh, so it was just stressful. So this is so much easier. I hope you'll stick around to watch the tutorial, and let me just show you the ones that I made. Now, I did make these before my fall craft fair, and so my fall craft fair was last weekend, and I did sell quite a few. So if you want to see every single one that I made, you'll have to go over to my Instagram, and I will link it below. And I have all the ones I made, because I have a lot of pumpkin ones and cute ones that I sold that I'm not going to have here. But these are some more that I made, and we're going to make one here on video. So hope you stick around for the tutorial. So before we start the tutorial, I'm just going to show you the ones that I made, and this one, because it'll take too long to show you the inside of all of them. But they all have the same basic inside and the way I did everything. So here's the first one. I love this, and I'm going to show you the paper pad that I used. You're going to fall in love with it, and you're going to want to go get it. This first one, I used this beautiful bridge in like a fall scene. And then there's the back. It has the other part. Oh my gosh, so pretty. That's the front of the bridge. And the inside looks like this. I covered it, let me take these little tags out, with the same paper, and I made a little pocket right here, and I made some tags to go in that pocket with some of the leftover paper. And then you just have your whole journal here. And then the back, I did the same thing. I just made the back with the same paper and made a little cute pocket for some tags that I just used, like the scraps I used the rest of the paper on. So look at that tag, isn't that pretty? These are pretty big tags, they're 4x6. And then there it is. So I'm going to take you through the rest of these. I'm really excited about them, and then we're going to make one here on video. So here you're seeing the basic materials that I used. First of all, I used the standard size of the composition notebook, and I got these for 25 cents each at Target. My Target still has some overstock of the school supplies, and so they've marked them down, and these are even cheaper now, so I don't need any more. But if you check out your Target or Staples or Home Depot, whatever that's called, what is it called? Office Depot or something, you could probably find these really cheap right now, and it's so worth it because you can just alter these in so many ways, and it's just the perfect notebook paper for a journal. So these measure 9 3/4 by 7.5, and I'm going to show you what I did to cover these. So I have quite a few here, and this is the star of the show, of course, this paper pad that I found randomly one day at Tuesday morning. This is called Fall Harvest, and it's by American Crafts, and this paper is so gorgeous. Like, I'm not going to be able to show you all the gorgeous images because I used almost every single sheet for this project. Now, I'm going to take you here. These are all the images that are in there, and there's 2 of each, which is perfect for this project. So So let me just show you all the images here that you get. So this you can find, I found it Tuesday morning, but I also located it on Amazon. So I went ahead and linked it below for you. There was only like a few pads left. So it did say they were going to restock, so it's linked below. Just click on the link and then go to my paper list and it's on there. You'll see it's like one of the first things on the paper list. And then you can just order it, you know, and get it delivered to you if you have Amazon Prime, or even if you don't, you can still order it on Amazon. So this Fall Harvest paper pad, and these are basically what you need. So the other items that I used were your basic tools. A paper trimmer. I used this. Now you do not need this if you don't have it. I did link it below, so if you want to go purchase it you can. But this is awesome. It's 2-inch score tape. And it just made it so easy to cover this with glue in like 3 strips rather than having to use a bunch of ATG. But last year I did use my ATG gun and it worked just as good. It just uses a lot of ATG. So that's why I had this in my stash. I got it at the Scrapbook Expo. But it is on Amazon and I linked it below. So if you want to see how I make mine and you want to purchase this, go ahead and do that. You don't need it though. And then I used a corner rounder, which is your best friend. Again, I say that every time. I use this and I'll show you where. And then this is optional. You don't need this, but this is the angle punch by We Are Memory Keepers. And it just makes like the tag angle punches on the tags that I made. So that's really all you need. And I did use a little bit of ATG adhesive as well. So let's go ahead and get started in making one of these. Okay, so the first thing you need are 2 pieces of 12 by 12 paper. Now I took advantage of the full image pages that I have. Any scrapbook pad usually has some full image pages, so that's what I recommend for this. I also recommend using the same sheet. So if you have a scrapbook pad that has 2 of each, this is the perfect project for it. You're going to use the entire 12 by 12 sheet, 2 of them for each journal. So I'm going to show you where we're going to trim these up. So I've decided to use the little corn husk ones. I think they're really cute. And so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to measure 9 3/4. And the reason we're doing that is because these books are 9 3/4 tall. So make sure you trim it the right way. And by that I mean you're going to trim off, you're going to pretty much be placing this like this. So you want to make sure you trim off the 9 3/4, you know, vertically and not this way, okay? So you want to make sure you cut this down to 9 3/4 vertically. So I'm sticking mine in like this. So essentially, here's the bottom, here's the top, and I'm going to trim it down to 9 3/4. And you know the drill. The air just kicked on, but I'm just going to keep going, guys. So sorry about the background noise. So let's take off 9 3/4. Make sure you keep this intact. You're going to need this entire piece. Well, you're going to need most of this piece. You're going to have a little tiny scrap left over, but so don't like cut like a little bit off that side, a little bit off this side. You need to cut an entire chunk off. So here's the piece you're going to save. And then here's our page that we're going to work with to cover the journal. So just do the same thing for this one. Okay, so now we have 2 pieces that measure 9 3/4 tall by 12 inches wide. You need 2 pieces that measure 9 3/4 by 12. And for all those who ask, this is decorative cardstock, okay? So the next thing you're going to do is grab your composition book. And what you're going to do is you're going to add glue to this entire surface, okay? Whether that be Mod Podge, wet glue. I recommend using the score tape or your ATG gun. It's up to you. So this score tape is actually really handy because it's 2 inches. And I bought it and I haven't used it in a year, and then I saw it in my stash and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is the perfect project for this. So I'm just going to start putting it on. I'm not going to go all the way to the edge here because I'm going to add ATG there just in case I do it crooked. And then a little shy of the edge here. Let me zoom in. So I'm adding a little shy of the edge here because I'm going to add ATG around the whole perimeter. So just make sure you keep it straight as possible. If it's not straight, it's okay. You can fill in, you know, the holes with ATG gun. And then I just take my ruler, and the nice thing about score tape is it just rips off, and so that's perfectly straight. So I'm just gonna add 2 more of these strips. And this one I put on a little crooked, so we've got some bubbles, but that's okay. That's what your bone folder's for. So I'm just gonna burnish this really good with my bone folder so the glue stays on the notebook. And then you're just gonna peel it off. Okay, so now that we've peeled off all of our score tape, I'm just gonna fill in some of the gaps. So make sure you get all the way to the edge with your ATG, and even if it goes a little bit onto this black like vinyl strip, that's okay because you can clean that up. Just make sure you get all the way to the edge. So I'm going to do the entire perimeter, all 4 of the edges here, making sure I'm getting all the way to the end, because you don't want any of your paper to come loose. And then let's get the top. Alright, so now your entire composition notebook, well actually, we missed a little strip right here. Okay, so now the entire front of your composition notebook is covered in glue. So now you can take, this is like the hardest part and it's not even that hard. So let's turn this so the vinyl is toward you, okay? You're gonna take your scrapbook paper, and my advice is to line it up with your hand here at the edge of the top and the vinyl here. So make sure none of the notebook is showing. So line it up with the top, and your hand can be a guide so it doesn't go over or below the top edge. And then make sure you're lined up here and just lay it down. And that should be the perfect fit. Then your next job is to burnish this like crazy. Make sure you really use your bone folder on all the edges first. When you do this edge, be careful because there's paper left over. You don't want to rip it. So just make sure you get that really good on all the edges. Do not rip this part. I've done it and it sucks because then you have to rip the paper up. But go ahead and give that a good burnish. Now, these notebooks, you know how, and then you're gonna burnish the rest of this also, sorry. So while I'm doing that, I'll tell you a couple things. So these notebooks, as you know, are not perfect. They're very inexpensive. So sometimes you'll get one that doesn't quite measure 9 3/4. Maybe there's a little bit, it's a little shy or a little more. So just know that going in, that you may have to adjust just a little bit, but it's really easy to make adjustments. So in this case, it looks like it's pretty dead on to 9 3/4. And there might be a little overhang here, which I can trim away with my scissors. But before we do that, you just take your finger and clean up any excess glue that's along this vinyl. And that's why it's nice to use the ATG gun on the edges, because then it's really easy to clean up just with your finger, and you know that this is still really glued down, really nice and strong. So now what we're going to do is turn this around to the back. Flip all the pages over, and you've got your inside front cover here. So this is where the rest of the paper is. And what you're going to do is, I like to just lightly make a crease right here with my bone folder just to get it started. And you're going to flip this over, line it up perfectly with the edge. Don't do it too tight because you don't want it to rip. And then just lay this down. So this is going to cover most of the inside cover. So can you see kind of how it's coming along? Here's the front and here's the inside. So the next thing you're going to do is just add adhesive to this. And I just use my ATG gun. So I like to add a few strips on here. then I like to get all the edges so that way they're nice and strong glued down. So I already got the big edge there. I'm just going to get these two, and then you're just going to simply glue it down, make sure it's even. It's just so satisfying to make these. Like, I just absolutely love making these. So the same thing, burnish your edges really good. When I say burnish, I mean, if you don't know what that means, I mean like crease your paper down to get the glue to really stick and be permanent with your bone folder. And the bone folder is the perfect tool for that. Okay, so there's the front cover. And there's the inside. So we have this little area that has that needs to be covered. So what I'm going to do is take that little scrap that we had left, and I'm going to make a pocket out of it right here. So I just need to cut a little bit off the end to make the pocket. So again, we're just going to cut this at 9 3/4. And for this, you're going to want to use wet glue, because if you use adhesive like your ATG runner, anything you put in there is going to get stuck. But wet glue dries clear and flexible, so that's why you want to use wet glue here. So that's pretty much all you're going to do. Leave a little bit of a gap right here, because if you put this all the way in, it's going to like obstruct the closing, and you don't want that. So just make sure you leave a little bit of a gap there, and you're going to put wet glue here, here, and here. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm just using art glitter glue, and that's the kind of wet glue I always use. And I just got these bottles with the little stainless steel tip. I got like a bunch, I think like 12 on Amazon for really cheap. So I will link these below in my Amazon store as well, so you can go get them. And then the art glitter glue is already linked below. And it's my favorite wet adhesive. It's really strong, and these little bottles make it so easy to add the glue. So just add a little bead of glue along all 3 sides, and then you're going to carefully just add it to your notebook. So as I was saying, just leave a little bit of a gap by the spine, and I'll line this up. And just place it down, and it'll dry really, really fast. So I can already see I have a little bit of an overhang over here, but I'll just snip that off with my scissors. So there's your cute little pocket, and now the entire inside cover is covered. So that's how you can do this with just a 12 by 12 sheet of paper. Okay, so let's just all pretend we don't see this little boo-boo I made down here. This is literally the first time I've ever made this mistake, and of course it's in the tutorial, right? Where I was trying to trim off the excess of this little pocket, and I accidentally cut like the notebook. But you know what? I need one of these for myself anyways, so I'm going to keep this one for myself and not sell it, but this, just ignore this. Anyways, so the next thing you do after your cover's all covered is you take your corner rounder by We Are Memory Keepers, or anyone that you have, and I use the 1/2 inch side because these are the bigger composition notebooks. So the 1/2 inch side is perfect, and you just chomp, chomp, and it's the perfect shape. Look at that. Isn't that so pretty? So I had a bunch of pumpkin ones, you guys. Oh my gosh, check out my Instagram, because there were some pumpkin ones that were so pretty, but of course they all sold at the craft fair. So anyways, let's go ahead, and we're gonna do the exact same thing to this side, and this side's gonna have this side of the image. You know how the front had this end of the image, and then the back is gonna have the back side of the right side of the image. So I'm gonna go ahead and cover this. I'll be back to show you how I make the tags. Okay, so it's all done. All nice and covered. It's got this beautiful edge because we folded the paper over, and a cute pocket. all these journaling pages. And then the back cover's done. Here's the pocket and then the back. So that was so easy, and I'll tell you, so satisfying to make. I was addicted to making these. I made so many for my fall craft fair. So I'm excited that I get to keep this one for myself because of my little mistake down here, but that's okay. I really wanted one to take to work with me. So the next thing we do is, it's a good way to kill the paper pads, little 4x6 tags, and I just did the 4x6 because a 4x6 photo can fit on there. You can do lots of journaling. So I might save the rest of these images because I already had cut some up and I had some scraps left. This is my little scrap bin. So let me look in here. Yeah, I did. I cut some of the papers up earlier, and so we're just gonna make some tags out of those. And when I say make tags, like, there's no rules. Like, you can do your own, you can do it your own way. But what I did is I just took a 4x6, I just cut this down to 4x6, and it can be any orientation. It's just like a scrap kind of thing. And I just cut the two top corners with my angle punch. Chomp, chomp, and I just made like a chubby tag. So I'm just gonna throw 2 in each pocket, and I already did these, so I don't even really have to do any more. Ooh, this one's pretty. Look at that one. And you know what you could do with these? You could use your typewriter on like some white cardstock or some cream cardstock and put like Happy Fall and stick it right here. Wouldn't that be so cute? Like on this photo reel paper and with like your typewriter font. I think that's so pretty. But anyways, we're gonna put 2 of these in each pocket, and that's just how I sell them at the craft fair. But if you're making this for yourself or for like a pen pal, goodness, like you could totally customize this as much as you want. So I just put 2 in there and 2 in here, and I just love it. It came out so cute. It's just so fun to make, and I just can't wait to make some more. And guess what? I got the Christmas paper of this style too. It's called like, oh my gosh, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called, but I'll link it below as well in my Amazon store in the paper list, so that way you can go and order it for Christmas, because I'm going to be making a bunch of these for Christmas as well, and I'll be sure to do a video because I'm going to do a little bit of a twist on them. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. So I want to thank you so much for watching. I'm just loving fall so much. I love fall crafting, and I just want to keep going. I know I need to get started with the Christmas stuff, but I just love fall so much. So I have a couple more fall projects to share with you, and I hope you stay tuned for that. Go see me on Instagram because I have all these that I made. I have a little flip through of all the ones I made on there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!